that have been submitted online. If you're interested in having your question answered, you can go to hijrah.info. That's hijrah.info/QA. Again, that's hijrah.info/QA. What do you think is preventing so many Muslims from getting married, and what should we do about it? Oh, wow. I think it's easy to point blame at a lot of us on why our young men and our young women aren't getting married. So I do want to break this down into different categories. I think the first group that is fault is that the parents. And part of the reason I say that is because many times we as parents, the only thing we tell our children to do is get an education and get a good job. That's it. That's all we talk about. We don't talk about anything else. We're always talking about money. We're always talking about our money problems. We're always talking about our money issues. That fear is passed down to our children. And when we are saying, when we keep talking about money and we keep talking about these issues, our children, they internalize that and they start believing that they are part of the problem. And they start worrying about different things. And they start worrying about electricity, and they start worrying about things that they have no control over. Like, my son doesn't pay the water bill. Why am I telling him? My son doesn't pay the mortgage. Why am I explaining to my daughter? Right? Like, these things are not their concern, and they should not be concerned about them. We teach them fiscal responsibility, right? Baba, I want to buy this. I want to go here. Hey, listen, I want to be honest with you. I don't think I can afford that. Is there something else that we can do? But we're shy to say that, right? We're shy to say no. For us as men, whether it come from our wife or whether it come from our children, it's actually an attack on our masculinity and our rujula when we have to say no. When we have to say, I can't afford this. Or when we say, I can't do that. We have to learn to be humble. Like, as fathers, we really have to learn to be humble. If my son said, hey, can I buy this? I have to respond to him and be like, I'm sorry, son, I don't think I can afford that. It feels very emasculating. And which is why we don't, which is why we spoil our kids, which is why we keep buying them things. But if we want to empower our children, like, we have to explain to them. And we have to tell them, it's like, oh, well, so-and-so, they bought this and they bought that. It's like, okay, well, that's good for them. May Allah bless them and increase them. We're not in a position where I can buy those things for you. Is there something else that you would like to do? And that's a hard conversation. So we pass down those fears very naturally when our children come of age. And for us, in our heads, we think some kind of wahi is going to come down when they turn like 25, 26, 27, where automatically they're going to be inspired to be married. Why? Because their shahwa kicks in? Shahwa and marriage are two separate things. Marriage can help with shahwa, but we forget that it's not the only outlet. The other problem that we as parents overlook time and again is the issue with pornography. It is readily available. There is, I forgot what the statistic is, but it's like a 60-70% chance if a child has one of these, he or she has already been exposed to some kind of pornographic nature. This is just a fact. So if I'm encouraging my child to work, if I'm encouraging my child to get educated, and I don't talk about his or her desires, if I don't talk about marriage, why would marriage even be on their radar? Why? I'm not being fair as a parent. I'm not being fair as a father. My wife's not being fair as a mother. If these things, and on top of that, we don't facilitate. Our cultures, many times, unfortunately, instead of helping our sons and daughters get married, they just end up being barriers. Oh, I want to protect my daughter with a $250,000 mahar. How's that going to protect her? Tell me. I'm telling you right now, as a man, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala preserve and protect my marriage, but if I hated my wife, you could have $1 million mahar. I'll be like, take it and leave, please. Money is not going to protect anything. Respect, honor, affection, love, this is what protects marriages, not money. So I think getting this idea out of our heads that, this will protect her, or this will stop him from divorcing her. It won't, I promise you. And I've sat in that office, dozens of divorces. Money was not a problem. Money was not a problem at the time of divorce. How much does she want? Yeah, whatever, just take it, leave. I don't want to be in this marriage anymore. It doesn't mean that we shouldn't have reasonable mahar, but it also doesn't mean we should have unreasonable ones. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala give us tawfiq. Inshallah, we'll continue next week. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.